celebration. There'll be a point when I call ancestors. You can call your honored ancestors at that time, and it will be in the Khan tradition. Kanabe. Check them out. Kanabe. Kanabe. I mean, it's been Fremo in Samampo. Ago. On Yakapona Tready upon Kwame and Sam. Asasa Yan Sam. A woman a high. The Sam. Oyoko and Sam. Oguno and Sam. The Turu and Sam. A son and Sam. A Soccer Pigeon, Sano. The Turu Pigeon, Sano. John Giddens and Audrey Giddens. Grandma Patty, Grandma Adeline, Mildred Burns, Adeleke Giddens. None of y'all probably be inside. None of y'all Denny Zulu inside. Okomfo Ama Nyamekye, Mama Zinga Catholic Bitch, Sano. Baba Jimo Kouyate, Bitch, Sano. Mam Patu Sek Bitch, Sano. Charles Finch Jr. and Louise Hughes Finch. Grandparents, Charles S. Finch and Mamie Jones Finch. Grandparents, Ruth Moore Hughes and James Hughes. Great-grandparents, William Finch and Laura Finch. Agnes Jones. Great-grandparents, Lloyd Hughes, Elsa James, Kenner Hughes, Alan Moore, Fanny Moore. Great-great-grandparents, Francis, Hughes family, Elizabeth Hughes, James Kenner, and Martha Kenner. Brothers, Arthur Finch and Anthony Finch. Mom Fatu Sek Bejansano. Chancellor Williams Bejansano. Cheketijo Bejansano. Ivan Van Sertima Bejansano. Asa Hilliard Bejansano. Nana Sekmet. Dr. Patricia Newton Bejansano. Dr. Francis Cress Wilson Bejansano. And all of those honored ancestors that walks with Wagan Phi, may you usher him. And we call upon Dr. Charles S. Finch III, Wagan Phi. Dr. Charles S. Finch III, Wagan Phi. Dr. Charles S. Finch, Wagan Phi. Nana Esi Ketua, Nana Esi Ketua, Nana Esi Ketua. We say, Mi Paucho Okuno. Mi Paucho Ame Okomfo Ama Nyamekye, a Surgery Yeti, a Sua Abena Yeti. I pour this libation today on behalf of the family of Dr. Charles S. Finch. We say, Medawasi P, for your gifts, your talents. May you be received well. May you rise high. May your destiny has been great and it will be greater even on the other side. We say, Medawasi P. We say thank you, Asante Sana, for all that you've done. May Nana AC receive you well along with your family. Ain't Nana Kwaso Madasi Nana no. Manikasa no.
Good evening, family. I'm Tony Browder, and I welcome you to this 40-day Ascension. Let's try it again. Good evening, family. Good evening. I'm Tony Browder, and I welcome you to this 40-day Ascension ceremony for Charles Sumner Finch III. I'm here with my grandson, who is carrying the spirit of my grandfather in him. Thank you for confirming that. We're here today to pay our respects to a man that we love deeply, to a man who left us all too soon, and we wish to honor him in the manner in which he lived, in an African-centered way. We're here to help his soul ascend into the ancestor realm so that he will be accessible to us for all time. Some of you may be aware of these activities and some of you may not be aware. So we want to use this occasion as an opportunity to educate, to enlighten, to empower everyone present in the room and everyone viewing this streaming. We want you to become familiar with the spirit, with the knowledge, with the cultural traditions for which Dr. Finch spent over 50 years of his life wedded to very deeply. And so we honor him in the manner in which he should be honored as an ancestor. Yesterday was his 78th birthday, and today he is born again as an ancestor. So we will do what we know to do and have several presentations acknowledging different aspects of his soul, different aspects of his spirit. And because we are people who live without masters, there is no MC. We will have presenters come and introduce themselves and do their presentation, and the program will process just as Dr. Finch would have it to process. So we're going to have individuals come and explain what is a 40-day ascension. They'll explain why an altar, the purpose of an altar, and why we elevate ancestors. And I ask for your attention. Thank you.
Nancy, thank you. Okay. Greetings, everyone. My name is Okomfo Ama Nyamekye, and I'm here representing my family clan, the Giddens clan, the Burns clan, the Wright clan, the Braggs clan, the McCoy clan. And I'm also had the opportunity to spend many years under the tutelage of our esteemed elder. Okay, all right. So, stop right there. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the 40 day as briefly as possible. But just to start off, to say what we did when we came in, and it's about the 40 day, is that we sang a song that talks about the annihilation of our ancestors, but it's not necessarily sad. We have experienced so much through the Ma'afa, through all the atrocities as we as African people have had. And so when we leave here, we leave to go to tell a story. And when we sing that particular song for an esteemed elder who lived a good life, we mourn and we praise simultaneously. So with that, in talking about the 40 day, I want to give just a little bit of basics in terms of how we do things as African people, of which many of us may already know. We pay attention to the universe. We pay attention to the cycles as the first people of the world. That's how we came to be, and that's how we came to know the things that we do. So with that, the 40 day, I just want to go simply with the number 4 that we observed as represent ultimate balance and stability, foundation, and transformation. We can talk about the 4 cardinal points, north, south, east, and west. We can talk about the seasons, the 4 chambers in the heart, the 4 divisions of the brain. We can go on and on, but we observe that represents a foundation. And we also observe rites of passage in life. We are born, and then we become reborn again once we leave the physical world. And in between, we live life. We become adults, we become elders, and we go back to Asasiya, Mother Earth, and back to Newt, the heavenly body. So when we're doing the 40 day, it's one of those rites. And with that, it marks the transition of that person into going into the next level. Let me not speak from this. So when we're going into the next level, what happens during the 40 day, what's supposed to happen? They say we're not supposed to speak the person's name because they're traveling on their way. Think about somebody running a marathon and they're focusing, and you start calling them, hey, come over here, we got, when you do that, you may look back and you may trip or something, proverbially, on your way. And you want to send that person on to their next destination. And what happens is that there's a separation from the physical to the spiritual. And that's what is happening in the 40 day. What do? We mourn the loss of the physical person. We laugh. We make a joyous occasion. We resolve issues and conflicts. And we prepare for their elevation. Many traditions do it throughout the world in many different ways. And we here are having a Sankofa experience that we are restoring the ways that we do it. It looks different in different forms. So when we do the 40 day, it is just that. It brings an elevation, not just to him, but to the family. And if you're listening, Mrs. Finch and the family, we say Madasi. For sharing such a great person to us in the world. We honor his personality, his humor, his habits, his struggles, his gifts, a life that he has lived. And it's a time, the 40 day is a joyous occasion for celebration of joy and laughter. It's not necessary to mourn. Now he has arrived. We can call his name. We can celebrate. We can praise. We can rejoice. And the 40 day also serves to strengthen the ancestral connection and the family and continuity so that the legacy lives on. You remember the challenges within the family, and he charged him to say, "Come to me in my dreams. Give us messages of what we should be doing in the family. How can we be better? How can we continue the legacy?" And we celebrate their ascension, his ascension to ancestorhood. And we ask for protection, healing, and guidance. I think I'm at my time now. So, that in essence is the 40 day, and you will see it in demonstration throughout this evening. Say, Madasi Asante Sana.
Thank you so much, Nana Ama, for that beautiful explanation. We really appreciate it. We know it in the Caribbean, but we don't get the full explanation about it. So thank you so very much. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this beautiful celebration and an opportunity to honor Dr. Charles Finch. My name is Sister Eurica Huggins. I'm a co-founder of ADACI, and I'm here representing my ADACI mamas and babas. Very briefly, ADACI is the acronym for the African Diaspora Ancestral Commemoration Institute. We are a 33-year-old nonprofit education, cultural, and spiritual organization based in DC, and our work focuses on the remembrance, institutionalizing the remembrance of our African ancestors who perished in the Middle Passage, the Ma'afa, as well as those who survived the Ma'afa. And through our programs and activities, our work really focuses on remembrance, healing, and restoration from the trauma, and restoration of our memory, our AI, as Brother Karakh often say, our ancestral intelligence. A key feature of ADACI are the altars, our artistically created sacred spaces, which serve as memorials to our ancestors to honor and remember them. And so we have created this altar today, and it really captures some of the essence, not all of it, of Dr. Charles Finch. And I first also want to thank all the mamas who came in at the end and added their essence to help create this beautiful altar, because that is what he would have wanted. So there are symbols on the altar. There are quite a few. First of all, the color blue that you're looking at in the altar, it represents, as he was a devotee of Mami Wata, the mother of the water. And colors are blue. She is well represented in African spiritual traditions in Africa and especially in the Caribbean as well. And we have a statue of Mami Wata right in the front. So she's here to celebrate him as she welcomes him home. Yes, we have a Sankofa bird representing, of course, going back to fetch what you have forgotten, which is what he did for us. Right? He helped us capture what we had forgotten. We have the Ankh representing everlasting life, which is where he is in the realm, right? He will be living forever in the spirit. We have the red, black, and green flag representing Black liberation. That's what he did for us. He wanted us to be liberated. We have the drum, talking drum, which represents the heartbeat of the Creator. And it was also his messages. He was a messenger for us. And then we have other symbols, of course, representing Kemet, and we have many of his pictures with him, his family, and ancestors. We have several of his books. We have flowers, of course, and fruits. And in the middle, we have, as Nana Ama mentioned to us, we have the 5 steps of the elevation. And which is what you will witness in the ceremony, his ascension into the realms of the ancestors. And then finally, we have the ADACI logo with the 9 powerful symbols. And we have the stones, which is an element of ADACI, which we ask that you take because it connects us. It helps us to remember the ancestors who perished and those who survive. And today is infused with all of his energy. So you want to take one of the stones and take it back with you. So when you look at it, you remember him and you carry him in your heart. And you also remember the ancestors of the Mahapa. So thank you so much. Peace, love, and blessings.
Greetings, family. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Thanks for everyone being here, bringing your energy and bringing your love. My name is Sandra Olufonde Rattley. I am a 29-year priest of the traditional Yoruba religion, and I am blessed actually to be a member of one of the oldest documented African families in America. My mother's family dates its presence here to 1674. To reflect on and to elevate and to deepen our understanding of the things that Waganfe was trying to tell us. So one of the things he said is, we are a people with roots. Those are his words. In his description of ancient Egypt and the Book of the Dead, he describes that those who have lived ethically are welcome to the elect to become one with Osiris. And subsequently, Horus supports our resurrection, the resurrection of a soul which never dies. Dr. Finch also tells us that all religions of the world, regardless of what the name is, regardless of what the praise name they have for God is, every religion is modeled from, and they take their concepts and ideas from African traditions, from us. We know African ideology is diunital, based on the logic of the unity of polarity. So unlike Western dichotomous black or white, good or bad thinking, diunital logic, which is the foundation for African psychology and our worldview, looks at polar opposites as part of the same whole. We are all spiritually interconnected, and so are these so-called competing ideas. So good and bad coexist. Life and death coexist. So does the individual and the community. Wagan Dr. Finch says we are a people with roots because the source material of all ideas about spirit and spirituality are part of our ancestral inheritance, our legacy. A fundamental belief of that legacy is that our construction of family is not affected by the dichotomy of life or death. Our idea of family and community is not limited by my ability to see you, my ability to touch you, or to touch what is material. Our community life, our family life is circular and everlasting. That is because our community and our family includes those who have not been born, those who have yet to return back to earth, those of us who are living now, having this material experience, and those who have preceded us. We are one people who are having a different but sequential experience of spirit. So we revere and honor ancestors because we still love them and they still love us, because we are still protected by them as we have always been, because we still learn from them as we always have. Those who have passed through the trials of purification that are described in the Book of the Dead, who have been justified and accepted into the afterlife as one of the elect, are our esteemed ancestors, esteemed members of our family that we honor, revere, and continue to love. That is why we honor ancestors, not just because of our memories of them and what we shared while they were living or they were seen, but because we want to treasure and support ongoing communication with them, ongoing spiritual connection, because we benefit from that connection. As Karakh Tony Browder wisely says, AI, ancestral intelligence, our connection to our ancestors is our superpower. I'm gonna say that again. AI, ancestral intelligence, our connection to our ancestors is our superpower. It is the way we solve problems. It is the way we overcome. It is the way that we celebrate. and it is the way we maintain our traditions. Our connection to Source is therefore everlasting and sustaining. Dr. Finch said we are a people with roots because we are still connected to him and always will be. We are connected forever in our diunital connection in the cycle and circle of life. This is why we honor ancestors. This is why we honor Wagan Fe. Baba, we love you, and we always will.
We will now hear from Charles Finch.
I came from a family of 7 children, so. Okay. And it was mentioned about my deep dive in African spirituality. Most of where that took place was the country of Senegal. And we have a representative from the country of Senegal by the name of Umi Sam, who became a close friend of mine. In fact, I want Umi to stand up. Stand up, Lindsay. And Umi has spent a lot of time in this country, and I just, like I said, so she was a kind of a co-participant with me as I learned about Ndope. That is a Wolof word, and the Wolof word means their spiritual system. I also got involved in the spiritual system of the Surrey. In fact, Umi would tell you, and others in this room would tell you, I have another name. It is Wagadan Phi. They, when I was in among the Surrey once, just there, I was sitting under a tree. I wasn't thinking about anything. They kept looking at me. They kept looking at me and pointing at me. I didn't know what was going on. And finally, and they called me over. By this time, I had been working with them for like 10 years or something. These traditional healers. I got immersed in traditional medicine. Okay. And they said, and I got very friendly with them. And as also, as me can tell you, my wife can tell you, Audri Fatu said, who was a 100-year-old healer why am I forgetting where she lived? What's the Rufus. And what can I say? It was life-changing is trite, but and I had never lost that in version of traditional medicine. And you see, and I got so many things to say, I don't want to fall too deeply into one thing. Western medicine doesn't know how to take care of people. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. I am a physician by training, a U.S. Western trained physician. I know what they can do, but they can't. And the thing that you should know before we go on is that there is a difference between healing and curing. Western medicine is very skilled at curing, relief of physical distress. Yeah. Healing is the complete balance of all the life forces to recreate and recreate. You've got to recreate yourself. Create and recreate the human being. And healing is what I learned in Africa, Senegal in particular. Okay.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Abdullah Yusuf. Thank you. All right. So I've known Dr. Finch for over 40 years. Initially met him at one of Tony's original lecture series that were held at the Howard Inn. And have been friends ever since. Participated in a lot of activities that he held. And he will be missed. My wife was also supposed to be here today. She couldn't come, but she asked me to read this to you. Mrs. Finch asked her to be with him through his transition. She went into spirit and stayed with him, linked with him till he left. And this is what she saw. He is surrounded by his family, his mother with her hand on his shoulders and his two brothers next to her. The ancestors have gathered, and all the scholars to welcome him across. Asa Hilliard was there. Ivan Van Sertima was there. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing was there. Dr. Clark and Sheikh Anta Diop were there. And even Mom Fatou Sek was there. The ancient ones were also there. And he chuckled, as he usually does, and said, well, look at here. I never would have thought. All right. So that's all I have to say for now.
Please repeat these words, everyone. We are lifting you with love, power, and light. We are lifting you with love, power, and light. Ashe.
Okay, greetings, greetings. It's great seeing y'all beautiful people. And we want to give thanks to Karakh and his team for bringing this together. It's a wonderful event. And many of you I've known for many years. One of Karakh's videos, interviews with Baba Finch, identified three of his guides, Malcolm, John Coltrane, and Sheikh Anta. Bam! I'm going to talk a little bit about being a medical student. Encountering the state of African people's health as a young medical student and resident is profoundly and often painfully impactful. One is tasked with learning a great deal about the many maladies that might impact a person and community. A significant responsibility is presented as part of the training. The demands of caring for many people, a large percentage of whom have not been well for many years, are significant. Many of our people suffer from chronic illnesses that may result in a poor quality of life, as well as an early demise, both of which cause myriad challenges for loved ones and the extended family and community. Dr. Finch, as a physician, was acutely aware of all of this, having graduated from med school in 1976 and completed a family medicine residency in 1979. Dr. Finch appeared to have made several important acknowledgments and practices during his years of taking care of our patients. He was known for his efforts at promoting health advocacy and awareness in our community. Dr. Finch was one of those who determined that a greater need existed in the community whereby the quote unquote standard diagnostic and treatment protocols were and are insufficient for what our people need. Dr. Finch joined the Morehouse Department of Family Medicine in 1982 and transitioned to the Office of International Health, eventually becoming the director. In this capacity, and while simultaneously administering care to patients in Atlanta, he became known as being outspoken about the overuse of prescription medications, while advocating for a greater focus on nutrition and lifestyle factors, specifically promoting a natural and holistic approach to health and wellness. Having previously done epidemiology research in Raleigh with the CDC, he applied his research skills to finding answers to the health challenges being faced by many of our people. He began investigating modes of approaching health that were outside of the Western medical training system. His co-organizing of Kumba Lamba seems to have been a transformative experience, speaking with Dr. Gallman, that at once reflected his commitment to cultural integrity, community healing, and the transatlantic connection. He was also exploring Native American indigenous healing practices with native healers from the continental US, Hawaii, and Alaska. Always searching for answers to the mind-body-spirit connection, also being able to discern a difference between curing, a Western medical concept, and healing, an African indigenous concept. The difference seems to have become the core part of his insights into what our people actually need. Dr. Gorman spoke about a meeting in South Carolina where Dr. Finch was expounding on his thoughts about healing and African spirituality. This aspect in Western medicine is still on only a fringe concept, very, very minor attention to it. In his book, African Medicine, A Spirit Science Out of the Shadows, life is viewed in Africa as a complex intertwining of the biophysical, the mental, and the spiritual. Many who practice traditional medicine were also priests, and the spirit world actively is involved with healing by way of possession, dreams, communication, divination, and conversation. A quote from Dr. Finch. You don't get healed until you connect with the spirit that is in charge of your healing. He identified again the difference between healing and curing. Curing is relief of physical stress or physical symptoms. Healing is the reunion of mind, body, and spirit to restore the whole person, seen in African and Native American traditions. As an aside, Kwame Ture, our dear revolutionary, was treated in Cuba after his prostate cancer diagnosis. He had 3 healing modalities. The Western, where they went in Havana, they identified if everything was being done right from the Western perspective. A healer who was a traditional herbalist in the countryside, and he also went to the spirit world with the Santeria and Yoruba practitioners. Also spoke Sister Sandy about dichotomous versus diunital thinking. Dichotomous either or, diunital both and. In that regard, we should wholeheartedly give thanks for the work of Dr. Finch as he advocates the notion of moving beyond, looking beyond the limitations of the Western medical model. For our optimal health, we need to access the best of both for our healing, Western and African indigenous healing traditions. We celebrate Dr. Finch as his life was dedicated to the healing of the African mind, body, and spirit, encouraging us to not allow conventional Western thought to prevent us from investigating the unknown and facilitating a healing, not a curing. Thank you.
Greetings, family. How's everyone tonight?
Give us one moment, Kaba, please. So we are on this journey with Dr. Finch Waganfe as he is elevated these 6 levels. So at each level, we're going to take a moment and we're going to say together, we are lifting you with love, power, and light. We are lifting you with love, power, and light. Ashe.
Take 2. Greetings. How y'all doing tonight? You got time to practice the first time. Y'all doing okay? Okay, we are here to honor one of our greats who has inspired us all and many, many more outside of this room. In 2016, I made my first trip to Kemet with Baba Tony. And I went inside of the Great Pyramid, and I realized at that moment that I was in the center of the world. And it inspired me to write a song called Center a couple of years later. And as the artists all know, a lot of times you start off with something with one meaning, and then you realize there are deeper meanings beyond what you understood consciously when you were creating. And I realized that not only is the center where the Great Pyramid is, but the center could be centering yourself, within your culture. And it's also centering ourselves within the cosmos and the universe. And in a greater extent, and a greater level, wherever we are, we can center ourselves if we do that, particularly with our ancestors. And one of the people that taught me about ancestors through his work was Dr. Charles Finch. And so this particular song is called Center. Come with me, my people, won't you come with me? Won't you come with me? Come with me to the center of the world. The origin of man, woman, and child, from the Zambezi to the Niger to the Nile. I see it in your faces and your smiles, and unknown knowing that we've been here all the while, from kingdoms current to those ancient and unknown, present day poverty to ancient golden thrones. Wherever the diaspora has us zoned, right there inside resides the heartbeat of our home. So come with me. Are you ready to get up and come with we? Won't you come with me? Come with me to the center of the world. Over obstacles and traps and toils and snares, our indomitable spirit keeps us here. Just as long as we keep ourselves aware, we will never, ever, ever disappear. So anytime you feel yourself getting down and you just can't phone or find a friend around, and you call for help but don't receive a sound, just know you're not alone. So stand your ground and come with me. My beautiful people, won't you come along with me? Come with me. Come with me to the center of the world. Come with me. My people, won't you come with me? Come with me. Come with me to the center of the world. So look no more, because behind the door to anything and everything you're looking for, it's in you. won't you come with we? You and me, won't you come with we? You and me are the center of this world. Come with me, my people, won't you come with me? Won't you come with me? You and me are the center of the world. Thank you. Wow.
All right. Ooh, it was wonderful. Trying to get this mic right. Can y'all hear me? Okay. All right. Back here again. Yeah, I'm coming here in a different capacity to talk about the great intellectual capacity of Waganfai. That's pretty great now. Yes. I don't know if I do it justice, but we're gonna make an attempt to do that. So I'm gonna introduce myself in a different capacity. I'm gonna say my name and you say your name, then I'll start. Okay. In this capacity, my name is Ngina Osset, and this is my brother,
Ayize KMT.
And so we are here representing Osset and African Sisterhood and
KMT and African Brotherhood.
Of which Wagan and Mrs. Finch and a couple of others who shall remain nameless by choice helped to start an organization in Atlanta. So in just introducing myself, I came to know about Osset and African Sisterhood through Tuskegee University, where we invited KMT and Osset down. And it was from that, it was decided that we were supposed to link up and join organizations. And little did I know, when I moved to Atlanta, Osset would find me. And I joined, and lo and behold, through the process, I met the great Waganfai. And it is with the theme, I just like to say, out of the shadows, that we talk about his relationship to Osset, and he will speak about KMT. And I like to say, one who sees the path before others must also have the heart to walk it alone. And as I speak about him and his work, I'm also speaking about all of the elders who helped put these organizations together. And to say something I didn't get a chance to say about his greatness, even as he came to this earth. His greatness, he was born just a little bit shy of the full moon. And what that represented was a person who came here to be a wise teacher, to leave a message behind for us to follow and take charge and move forward. And when he left the physical plane, the moon was in completion. And his number added up to 1. And it said it was that of completion and the rise of a great ancestor that has ascended. So it is not by accident that he came here. He did a great work. As he would say, we're not going to live to see the end, what's going to turn out. We plan things for 10,000 years, on and on. I'm not going to be here to see it. I'll be an ancestor somewhere. So what you do is you plan like the ancients did when they built the pyramids for 10,000 years. And he said that our actions should speak for 10,000 years in all that we think, say, and do. And it is with that Offset and Kemet was founded. But what was very important that it was hidden, because during a time in the 80s, when right after, not too long after the Nile Valley Conference happened in 1984, he was planting seeds, or they were planting seeds for Offset and Kemet to happen. And it was under even the threat from the universities and peers and whomever that this organization should not exist. The livelihoods were challenged, and it is out of the shadows that it is ever recent that we could even start to talk about this, as Wagan has done. And it is with that that they made a commitment. And he said that these organizations must survive and thrive. They have a purpose for restoring the identity of African manhood and African womanhood. And it's with that Offset was birthed. I like to use the concept of, he also taught us about the blood mysteries. And one of the first ones is that of conception. We don't know when it started or when it ended, when did we get here, but we know there was a mother and a father and some other things that other people, and many, and looking at the African concept that you may have, there's always many mothers, and there's definitely a father to move you forward. And Wagan talked about that. And so with that, I'd like to say Offset and African Sisterhood was founded as an undergrad organization at Spelman College. Wednesday happens to be the same day he was born. I just found that out. January 25th, 1989. And it was birthed with the elders along with 23 women, young women, teenagers who said, we want to do this African thing. And they trusted and they listened and they heeded the call. And it is through that Offset and African Sisterhood was birthed. And just like the rites of passage of many of women in life, it goes through ebb and flow, rise and fall, and unification ultimately, as Offset is the mother and is the throne and the foundation. And so with each phase within Offset's development, Wagan, Mrs. Finch, and the others were right there. Just like parents, just like, we leave our families, we go places, we come back home, we act like we don't know that we learned anything, and then all of the various things. And he represented that, and he charged us. And with that, the structure, because we didn't know, just like conception, like, who put all of these things together? We didn't even know who. It was like a mystery. We didn't know who was who. The level of rituals, the level of time, the level of understanding of our ancient wisdoms, and teaching us about the divine feminine and the great mother within us as African women, and what we must strive to do in whatever it is that we do in our lives. He taught us that. He actually represented the feminine principle. There was a mother, there is mother, we have many mothers, and he represented the balance. And one of the most, and I'll try to end on this in terms of a lesson, a funny thing, a good things. He trusted us so much. When he did Kumbalamba in 1986, we were there before that. He introduced us to Mam Fatou Sek, to the Ndepkas. He invited us to their houses. We picked them up at the airports. We were able to have these wonderful experiences. He put us right in the heart of the rituals of Kumbalamba to be responsible. He planted seeds in us to move forward. And many of us have gone on to do different things. One of my sisters is here. She's standing back there. Her name is Harry Ma'at, who traveled also from New York to be here because of his significance and his impact. And with that, I was gonna say something else, but I think I'm at my 5 minutes and I'm gonna pass it to my brother. Ayize.
Ashe, Ashe, Peace. I'm Ayize Sabater. I was born through the blood ritual of conception, Sean Sabater, Through Kemet, I ascended to Ayize KMT. I'm blessed to be one of the brother sons of Dr. Charles Finch, who is an elder scholar who helped to found, at the time of this founding, January 11th, 1988, Kemet fraternity. We have transitioned to now be Kemet Asin, an African-centered brotherhood founded in Atlanta at Morehouse College as the complement to our African sisterhood, ASID. And so Dr. Charles Finch is foundational for Kemet's development, growth, and even inception. We as men of Kemet, we are not able to measure the immeasurable impact that Dr. Charles Finch had on so many brother sons of Kemet. I'm blessed to be here with my brother, Babakazi Kemet, who is in the back, and I'm wearing the color red because for us as men of Kemet, red symbolizes that color which drives us forward, just as red might drive a bull forward. And Dr. Charles Finch was that element for us that helped to drive us forward to strive towards excellence. So looking forward as men of Kemet, we ask for the strength of the Most High, the strength of our ancestors to continue the burden and blessing of being dedicated to scholarship, clarity, purpose, and to continue our mission to build Black men and transform African communities at home and abroad. And if I might just take a quick moment, personal privilege, I was blessed to work with Baba Charles Finch's son, eldest son, brother Dr. Tahani Finch, on a rites of passage process that we developed called the Kenti. And as we helped to bring these young brothers into manhood, we actually were blessed to have them sit at the feet of Dr. Charles Finch several times. And I remember him, leaning in and speaking words of power to these young brothers that blew their minds. And as I am a sprouting young scholar, when I authored my first book, telling children our story, it was Dr. Charles Finch who thought it not robbery to go ahead and write the foreword for this brother that helped put me on the map. And so Dr. Charles Finch truly left an indelible imprint on we, the brother sons, men of Kemet, and we say, Hetepu. Ashe.
We lift you with love, power, and light. Ashe.
Giving honor to the creator of all things, seen and unseen, to the energies who perform the work, to our national ancestors who we implore, receive our honored one, and who we sincerely request continue to guide our intentions, to the family ancestors of our honored one whose names we know and whose names we do not know, to my comrades with whom I am honored to participate in this ritual, and to those personal family members on both sides, on whose shoulders I stand, who have guided me to this work, the JLWs. I am Makini Niliwaambieni, representing today Okomfo Enterprises, Appeal, Farafina Khan, and Sankofa Emma. I accepted the assignment of sharing cultural foundations, of Nana Dr. Wagamfai, also known as Charles Finch III, MD. And as I thought about culture and Nana Wagan's work, The words of another ancestor came to mind, which defines culture in a way that is clear and, I believe, basic. Nana Dr. Wangari Maathai, Kenyan activist and founder of Greenbelt, states in Taking Root, the documentary of her life and work, culture is coded wisdom that has been accumulated for thousands of years and generations. Some of that wisdom is coded in our ceremonies. It is coded in our values. It is coded in our songs, in our dances, in our plays. And because we as a society did not have a written culture, it is not something that we could go back and read about. When our elders died, they died with that culture, with that knowledge, with that information. And so we were left with a vacuum. And we have tried to fill that vacuum with the values that the missionaries have given us, but the missionary has given us values that are based on the Bible. And as good as they are not the coded wisdom of our people. In Echoes of the Old Dark Land, Nana Wagan describes culture as the most distinctive product of the human mind and labor, which would have had its origins in Africa and spread to the rest of the world by initial waves of migration. I met Dr. Finch in 1991, 1 month after Echoes of the Old Dark Land was published. He spoke about his book at Mama Ayo Handy's African American Holiday Expo in December, 1 month later in December. So my interest in Echoes began initially with chapter 2, The Great Mother and the Origin of Human Culture. I was especially captivated by the blood mysteries, which we just heard about a little. Then the entire book became of even greater meaning and importance when I was asked to provide young women with an African-centered rite of passage process. I knew that we needed to know as standard bearers, as the curators of the songs in which messages were embedded, as discoverers of timbers of the voice which could awake alarm or put to sleep men, women, and children alike, as originators of the rhythms of the drums as we interacted with water, rocks, and wind. I knew that his seminal work had to be on the shelves of young and older women so that we would be true and dutiful to and confident in our ancient roles as culture bearers, the starters and sustainers of the fire that is culture. Chapter 4 continued the intrigue of culture. Chapter 4 continued the intrigue as Nana Dr. Wagan opened with how the Egyptians' time reckoning was guided entirely by natural and cosmic cycles. These cycles had to play a role in what was done and how it was done. We've all heard about what happened when the Nile overflowed its banks and how that determined to the people who were there, planting, we move, we don't move, but it has such an impact. And so it also had an impact, again, on how we did what we did. Think of his description of culture as the most distinctive product of the human mind and labor, and relate that to the coded wisdom in our songs, our dances, our plays, and by extension, our language, spirituality, and in general, our ways of knowing. With the depth and density of the historical, cultural, anthropological, and even more information he reviewed, uncovered, and shared, what stands out for me is his willingness to use what he learned. It wasn't just some words on paper. To discover the encoded messages and demonstrate the relevance of those ancient cultural findings by applying them to our everyday contemporary experiences. So when one of my grandsons had a dream and described a man with the head of a dog, I consulted Nana Wagan at Nana Ama Nyamekye's suggestion. He interpreted, first of all, he just took the call, listened to the dream and said, oh, okay, and he interpreted his dream and helped us understand that the figure my grandson described was Anubis and what that could mean. And my grandson is constantly having those dreams and those feelings. The ancestors are always around him. When I told him that Nana Wagan had passed, he said, I have to study his work. I said, yes, you do. He also understands the power of names and that names encompass our mission. He enjoyed being called Wagan Fa. He shared with us when he was here, again, the story of how he got the name and that he was just surprised that he was recognized and identified that. But later, he received the name of a powerful Asante deity, as Ama Nyamekye discovered, Nana Kweku Adeku. He was born on a Wednesday. He received the name of this very, very powerful deity whom we call on for specific things. He lovingly encouraged Brother Karakh to use Karakh as it connects him to a powerful ancient whose mission he is carrying out. He understood that continuance is more powerful than being the first, and continuance is our way. It's our way to honor who and what has come before us. Ancestral veneration, done everywhere in traditional Africa, as he has said. We must know what came before and commit to carrying it forward, following the example of Dr. Nana Wagan. And this is the lesson for me, and one that I am compelled to share this evening upon reflecting on cultural foundations, implications, customs, ideas, the coded wisdom inherent in everything we do. To know, we must do. Our knowing is in the doing. To heal, we must do. Our healing is in our doing. Knowing and healing walk together, whether we study, travel, share, read, listen, question, we do it all, we do it in community. And as Nana Wagan stated on my signed copy of African Medicine, A Spirit Science Out of the Shadow, he might have said this to some of the rest of y'all, but I'm talking about my book right now. He said, we must heal ourselves. We must heal ourselves. We must heal ourselves. That's it.
We lift you with love, power, and light. Ashe.
I give thanks to the divine powers, the ancestors, Karakh Muntu, Olufonde Rattley for bringing us together for this wonderful celebration. I'm Adeleke Foster, and it feels very good to be back home in DC with my spiritual family. Years ago, I worked as a psychotherapist serving our community, then transitioned to international organizational development consulting. Dr. Finch was a member of my doctoral committee. He was and is a mentor, friend, penultimate teacher and guide. It was the holy trinity of Dr. Finch, Nana Kwabena Brown, and Tony Browder that further opened the portal to my African identity and consciousness. And for that, I'm deeply grateful. I want to invite you into this topic with a question for your reflection. Do you have a vision of who you are becoming and the state of being you will embody at the height of your spiritual development? Centering for spiritual development requires that we answer this and many other questions, and my brief notes examine this topic through the lens and experience of the Jed Rising Collective that Dr. Finch, known to many as Wagan Phi, summoned into being nearly 13 years ago. First, what is Jed Rising and what is the collective? Jed, spelled D-J-E-D, is a Kemetan symbol that is one of the oldest and perhaps the first representations of Osiris Asar, the ancient Egyptian god revered as the lord of the underworld and great judge of the dead, who mythologically was murdered, dismembered, and whose body parts were gathered and reconstituted by his sister wife, Isis Aset. This resurrection story predates Jesus Christ by millennia. The Djed pillar appears to some to be a cross or tree trunk, but it's most commonly identified as the backbone of Osiris, representing resurrection, stability, endurance, and permanence. It's that symbolism that inspired Dr. Finch Wagan to establish the Djed Rising Collective. In the fall of 2014, he summoned 13 individuals into this collective, and it was a powerful multidisciplinary assembly. His intent for us was to, and I quote, function as a sustainable body of activists dedicated to pursuing a pathway that would light a beacon by which an evolving critical mass of Black people could engage in a collective destiny. And I infer from his extensive body of work that our destiny is to ultimately integrate ancient spiritual, cultural, and metaphysical science and practices into contemporary identity and future development of our people. So what does centering for this daunting task involve? First, accept the premise Dr. Finch writes about in African Medicine, A Spirit Science Out of the Shadows, which is spiritual development is a complex, holistic, and most of all, a communal healing process. He writes, all healing interventions operate on multiple levels, physical, mental, spiritual, and cosmic. He describes a ladder of energy that connect body to mind, mind to spirit, one of us to all of us, such that we feel and are affected by what happens on every level. I believe that means that if you say, I'm going to develop spiritually, you can't binge on pork rinds every day. You can't reach your spiritual peak while ignoring fractured relationships in your family or the plight of our people. By the same principle, we are uplifted when Karakh reintroduces the world to the 25th dynasty of Egypt, or Kakonja Michael Brown creates a new work of art, or when Ife Robinson, the de facto high priestess of Djed, pours libation every day for 5 weeks and radiates that energy to all of us. Bottom line is spiritual development doesn't happen in isolation. A prime example is the Kumbalamba healing ritual in Rufisque. The individual seeking healing never takes that journey alone. She is accompanied by family, if available, medicinal plants, the dancers and drummers that invoke spiritual forces to come to her aid, the chicken, the goat, the bull, and the Indapkats, the healers that accompany you in every phase of the ritual. And they sit on that mat every time someone is being healed. They sit both as the healer and as the person in need of healing. They do this hundreds of times, and each time they do it as the first time. And Dr. Finch had that same spiritual gift despite his unchallenged brilliance in multiple fields of endeavor. He was able to set aside what he knew to be fully open to spirit. He somehow was able to approach each encounter with spirit with a beginner's mind. Imagine what that would mean for us to experience each prayer like the first time we prayed, or each release, healing, and renewal like the first time. With the beginner's mind, the Djed Collective grappled with familiar questions. What is our divine purpose? What does fulfillment of that purpose look like at the height of our consciousness and identity and spiritual powers as in antiquity? That's a very different question than what is the best that I could do right now? Where do I stand? Remember the Ethiopian proverb, he who conceals his disease cannot expect to be cured. Then Waganfai asked what he called the question of all questions, what went wrong? The convening of the collective in 2014 addressed this forthrightly, led by Dr. Finch, who walked us through every crucible moment in African history since 1619 to the present without taking a breath and without looking at a note. When he started talking, the lights flickered and he paused to say, Spirit is with us. And then he went forward. The other question, what needs to happen to usher in and accelerate spiritual development and healing? And for Djed, our strategic objectives were distilled into one composite objective, reclamation of African cultural memory. And we developed a blueprint and a costed action plan in support of this. And finally, aligned with spirit and act, Wagan proclaimed, our people are being set up right. Determine your part in the plan. It's time to move to the next level of the spiral. It's time to get serious. So these were our questions, but what are yours? And our path wasn't a straight path. To quote Zora Neale Hurston, there are years that ask questions and years that answer them. And development happens when life be lifing. Wagan Phi put it more eloquently, becoming is a continuous interactive process of organizing, disorganizing, and reorganizing. And he goes further to say that healing or development follows a resurrection cycle of life, death, and rebirth. And with his understanding of that cycle, he insisted upon initiation for Jed. He reminded us is to be African is to be initiated. And Nana Kwabena Brown and Iya Bokor Marie performed the initiation rite. So what will it be for you? What's going to be your Jed pillar, the backbone of your spiritual development? What are you willing to release and sacrifice? And what from your African spiritual inheritance will you reclaim in the service of your spiritual elevation? Wagan fulfilled his role of summoner to absolute perfection. It was his fate. It's in his name. Charles Sumner Finch. Sumner is Old English for summoner. Wagan Phi is his initiate name given by Mumfat Tusek, the supreme in Dapkat. The name Wagan Phi comes from the Serer ethnic group who identify themselves as people of the seed. It's a name that carries spiritual weight. Wagan signifies a person who is steadfast, resilient, and spiritually attuned. The surname Phi signifies Serer nobility, a guardian of the religion, and someone with direct ties to the ancestors. Fanya Davis, a member of Jed, put the impact of her association with Wagan in this way. Dr. Finch guided me personally through the most sacred life passage from civil rights trial lawyer and relentless social justice warrior filled with rage to seeker of African spiritual and healing wisdom. He urged us to attune ourselves to ancient cycles and rhythms, to trust sacred memory, and to walk in reverence rather than rage. His wisdom helped transform my angry activism into sacred dance, my struggle into wonder, my life into ceremony. He summoned me across thresholds of profound spiritual regeneration. I honor him with all my heart. The beauty of this and the best news is that our beloved ancestor, Wagan Phi, is not done summoning. He penned these words when his compatriot and spiritual mother of Jed, Dr. Patricia Newton Sekhmet, transitioned. Death, properly understood, is a gateway to life in another form, essential for the continual evolution of a human being. The ancients of Kemet understood that someone like Nana and now Wagan is actually more powerful in death than even in life, not unlike Marcus, Martin, and Malcolm. One thing is certain, she, speaking of Dr. Newton, will be present, and her presence will be felt by all of us, and her resurrection will begin. And I'll close with this utterance, 556 from the pyramid text. O you four gods who stand at the supports of the sky, my father Osiris the king has not died in death. Charles Sumner Finch, Wagan Phi, has not died in death, for he possesses a spirit in the horizon. So when you seek a connection with Wagan Phi, now a Kometa human, look up. You'll see the white gleam of his star adjacent to Sirius C that has eluded modern science, but that the Dogon sages confirmed back in antiquity. When you are summoned or guided by Wagan from the new land, answer the call. Hotep.
And we're saying this joyously. We lift you with love, power, and light. Ashe.
Permission to speak. Permission to speak. Good, thanks. I'm Ngozi Williams.
Ife Robinson.
And it's really interesting as what I had planned to present. I can actually forego between Adeleke's powerful presentation and Wagon Fi's actual appearance here. I was actually going to attempt a visualization that is we no longer need to because he was actually here. So what I'll attempt to do for a few seconds, Dr. Rattley just referred to the joyous aspect of why we're here. Let's see if we can bring some joy into the space. So let's do a little call and response, a few seconds with me, please. And I will ask a question. And if you can affirm, please respond by Nana Wagon Fi. So if you ever heard Nana Wagon Fi lecture, if you ever heard his robust laughter,
Nana Wagon Fi.
if you ever witnessed a lecture, a lot of, Adeleke, how did you put it? Where as he presents, it's like that first time he's discovering, as he's imparting the knowledge to us, it's like he's discovering it for the first time again. And he bursts into perspiration. Have you witnessed that?
Wagon Fi.
Nana Wagon Fi. If you've experienced just his sheer joy, he loved this DC community so much. If you experience that joy firsthand. I'm so grateful to be here today. I give thanks for the creative forces in the universe known by many names, both named and unnamed. Karakh, thank you so much. Let me slide one more in. If you were a part of the study groups that Karakh started in the 80s. All right. What year did you start that? 80, mid to late 80s, all right? Thank you so much. As Karakh brought the scholars to the DC community, and I met Dr. Finch, and I'm like, why are you staying at a hotel? You come stay with one of us. And so he would come and stay at my house, and that's how we became friends. And so that old Southern hospitality vibe, maybe we can keep that going community still today. As he shared the story today of the Serere, I felt so fortunate, Adeleke, I imagine you did too. Adeleke and I were with him in Rafisque and Fatigue. As the Serere, we literally walked past the Serere. He was sitting, holding up a wall. We walked through, and then we find out there's the Serere that's actually communicating with the ancestors. And so he literally tells the story here. So my job, I'm gonna just pass things over to Sister Ife, that really was the heartbeat. Were you the youngest of us? You and Mansa, where's Mansa? But the heart of Jed.
So I find it beautifully interesting that anything we have discussed came out in everything everyone has said today.
Truly.
Down to the quote, because Wagan would often quote the wisdom of Dr. Kia Fukiao. And he said to be African is to be initiated. And so to add to what's been said, I would like to offer gratitude and say Modupwe to Nana Kwabena, Modupwe to Ia Marie for opening that portal for Jed. For us to be able to go through that portal means that we were fulfilling this act of initiation. And ultimately, to honor spirit, because when we acknowledge spirit, we are doing what is right. And that is actually what our mandate became, not to examine what went wrong, but to look instead at what went right. And what went right was African spirituality. That's the only way we're gonna win. Yep. And so it's an honor to gather for our beloved Wagan Phi as he has reached his rightful seat, as he is aligned with that Jed pillar, as he has stood with the backbone of Osiris on his square, alongside his beloved family, his sister Jed, Nana Sekmet, Dr. Patricia Newton, as well as the venerable friend and brother, Malvin Merkson. And for them being true of voice, we say Ma'akru. Hotep.
Okay, and this is the reason why when Anthony Karakh Browder starts talking about these things, talking about that knowledge and relearning, and as he calls it, remembering, just like you do the body of Osiris, the members of the body of Osiris are put back together and therefore are remembered, and therefore so remembering is a form of resurrection. That's basically what Karakh has been saying. And you see, this is what he was also saying about people of African descent. We have a huge job of remembering because our memory was taken away from us. And some of us, too many of us, don't even care to remember. That's like you prefer to be dead. I mean, because if you're remembering, right, you're resurrecting out of the state of death. So if you don't want to remember, if you don't care about any of this, then you prefer to be dead. What used to be called the mentally dead people of North America, talking about people of African descent. Into that. But the point is, if you're in the process of remembering, there's only one place to do it. There's only one place you can go. One place and one place only, and that's Kemet, the Black Land. Also called Talmeri, the beloved land. You might call it the land, just like the Nile comes from its umbilical source in the Great Lakes region of Africa. And renews, until they put up that dam, used to renew Kemet every year without fail. That sacred river. And that's what we're trying to do. We're struggling. There's no power. It's hard. We're struggling. We're in the process of renewing and remembering. And oddly enough, you can even do it through the Christianity that you practice. You can find your way there through the Old and New Testament. It's possible if you know what you're looking for and how to look for it. Let's stop there.
So we are here to ensure the ascension of this brother, of this soul, of this spirit, who is gone, but who will always be here for us. And all we have to do is call his name, right? All we have to do is think of him, and he is here. He's never gone. It's about remembering. Right? It's about putting together those fractured pieces of our history, of our culture, of our memory, of our traditions, of our values, those fractured pieces that others thought they had done away with, but they were always embedded in our DNA. It's more than about history. It's about heritage. It's about what you have inherited. It's about that blood memory. It's about that muscle memory. It's about the essence that exists in us, that was poured in us thousands and thousands and thousands of generations ago. So we carry within us the memories, the spirits, the souls of all of our ancestors, and they work through us. And all we have to do is take the time to call their names, to invite them into our lives, to open the door so that they will come into our hearts, move through our heads, and prepare us to fulfill our cosmic assignment. As Dr. Welsing said, that every single soul came here, had a date with destiny to come here at this particular point in time to fulfill your cosmic assignment. So we're lifting up Wagan Phi tonight so that he will be another voice that we can call on that will help us do our work.
To the divine newts, to the great mother, return. May you be at peace. May you be fortified and continue to bring the fire and give us the message of what we need to do. May you give them the message of what has been done here and that we amplify you. We raise you. We honor you. And we also charge you to continue to do what you've done and magnify it fold. Our people need healing. We need restoring. We need to be awakened, that we remember who we are, because we are not a dead people. And we will remember you, and we love you. Rise in power, Wagan. Rise in power. Rise. And we love you. Asante.
Wagan Phi, Dr. Charles Finch, having lived an exemplary life and passed the Iwa Pele test of good and gentle character, having sojourned through the underworld and answered all questions true. Today, we who are here in the natural world acknowledge and celebrate you as an exalted ancestor. Wagan, your legacy, your leadership, your life's work, your dedication to the origin, history, culture, tradition, and spirituality of our people, along with your accomplishments and contribution, will continue to keep us and to guide us. We call upon you at this time because it's so needed within within this period and within this culture. We call upon you to keep, guard, and protect us as we endeavor to uplift humanity and enhance our people's life. Wagon 5, Dr. Charles Sumner Finch III. Your name will remain above the grave.
I have looked up the word Jetna. Yeah, when I think about Dr. Finch, he more than exemplifies that. Spiritually developed, spiritually advanced, a mighty man. He was a big man physically and big man spiritually. I would just say that one of the things that I think that all of us should do is really try to emulate his life. If we just look at what he's accomplished, there's two things that he combined that we need to do the same thing with: spirituality and scholarship. Yeah, very important. And then with the purpose that he had in directing that towards uplifting our people and waking our people. So Dr. Finch, God bless you, God bless you, God bless you. I'm going to paraphrase a prayer and then by all means give others here the opportunity to talk. And I'll say, Dr. Finch, that I pray that you make contact with us through our deities and holy people, and thereby lead us the way that God wants us to follow. Amen.
Yes. One. Ancient was a dream. Ancient was a smile on the night. On the night. Ancient was the dream. Ancient was smile on the night. On the night. Remember the now? Do you remember the now? The pyramids that they built. The wisdom that reigns supreme. Meditating our minds and souls. Take a journey. Take a journey with us on the now. Ancient was a dream. Ancient was a smile. Oh, the night. Oh, the night. Ooh. Ancient was the dream. Ancient was the dream on the night, on the night, on the night, on the night, on the night. Thank you for your brilliant mind, a master teacher, healer divine. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for every ancient step, a modern day Imhotep. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for your brilliant mind, a master teacher, healer divine. Thank you. Oh. Thank you for every ancient step, a modern day Imhotep. Thank you. And thank you for your life, sacred and divine, God's design, God's design. Now, Baba, now it's time to ride, journey through the skies, flying high, flying high, flying high, flying high. Wagon Five. You say your name. Wagon Five. We honor you. Wagon Five. Wagon Five. We lift you up. Wagon Five lives, y'all. Wagon Five. Wagon Five. We lift you up in love, love. We want y'all to do that with us. We lift you up in love, love. And if I can get everybody on this side, just sing. We lift you up. quite a beautiful ancestral orchestra. We lift you up in love. Sounds so good. Woo! Sounds. We lift you up in love. We lift you in higher love. Yes. Fly high, walk on fire. Thank you, Baba.
A tribute to Dr. Charles Finch from the Worldwide Indigenous Science Network, President Dr. Apila Colorado, and Board of Directors presented by Board Member Audri Scott Williams. Today we gather to honor Dr. Charles S. Finch III, husband, father, physician, scholar, teacher, a keeper of memory, and a dear friend. Dr. Finch did something profoundly important in our time. He did not simply study history, he restored belonging. For generations, African people and African descended people were taught a story about themselves that began in chains. A story that suggested civilization, philosophy, medicine, and spiritual systems were gifts given to Africa rather than contributions that came from Africa. Dr. Finch gently and courageously challenged that narrative. Through his scholarship, he reminded the world that the Nile Valley was not only a place of monuments, but a place of mind. He showed that long before modern universities, African sages contemplated the nature of the soul, the cosmos, healing, ethics, and the unity of all life. That what we call today psychology, metaphysics, and holistic medicine were once integrated, body, mind, and spirit as one. And perhaps his greatest offering was this. He helped us, indigenous peoples of African descent, understand that we did not come into history as a problem to be solved, but as a people with a profound intellectual and spiritual inheritance. He gave back what oppression attempts to take, dignity rooted in knowledge. He created pathways to assist us in reclaiming our indigenous minds. As a physician, he healed bodies. As a scholar, he healed memory. And when memory heals, identity heals. And when identity heals, we can stand up differently in the world. That history is not just about the past, history, because when you know who you are, you walk differently, you speak differently, you dream differently. Today, we honor him not with grief alone, but with gratitude for reminding us that wisdom has ancient roots and that spirit and science need not be separated, and that knowledge can be an act of liberation. May we carry forward what he gave, a restored memory, a restored dignity. May his journey be peaceful. May his work continue through us, and may we honor him in the best way possible. As water returns to the earth, so wisdom returns to the people. Dr. Finch, healer of body and memory, may your spirit walk with the ancestors, and may your knowledge continue to awaken us. We remember, we honor, we continue. Ashe.
This evening has been more than what I anticipated. It's what Charles deserved. He touched all of us in so many ways that we're compelled to do what we know to do, to remember him and to lift up his spirit. And nobody does it better than Black folk in Washington, D.C. I'm telling you all. Between the libations, between the music and the song and the spirit, DC's got it going on, you know? I'm so proud to call this place my home. And as I think about what Charles has meant to me, I met him 42 years ago at the Nile Valley Conference. And as I sat in that audience as a young man trying to find my way, and as I watched speaker after speaker after speaker after speaker talk about various aspects of Nile Valley civilization from various professional perspectives, I sat in that audience and I said, that's what I want to do. I knew then at that moment that that was what I wanted to do. And I also said, I need to bring those people to Washington, D.C. so that my folk here can see what I saw, can feel what I felt. Took me 3 years, but we started the Free Your Mind lecture series. And everybody who spoke at the Nile Valley Conference spoke in Washington, D.C. The last time Finch was here was 2 years ago, and he was in this very building. He was in this building as we were celebrating the 16th anniversary of the ACER Restoration Project. And I have to say that Finch was one of my most ardent supporters. Finch had come to Egypt several times, along with Sister Sekhmet, and they saw the site. They saw the work that we were doing at that site. And Finch told me, you Karakh men, you have come back to restore your tomb. And I thought he was just bigging me up. So I'm like, yeah. You know, I wasn't prepared to accept that. But Sekhmet was saying the same thing. And between the two of them, two folk that I love with all my heart and soul, I had to step back and see what they saw. So when Finch talks about being in Senegal and having the elders call him over and say, you are Wagan 5. Wagan 5, a healer, a ruler who lived hundreds of years earlier. Finch was acknowledging the Kemetic concept of the Rehemi Mesu, the repetition of the birth. The body is temporary, but the spirit, the soul is eternal, and we come back. And if we're ready, the souls of spirits, powerful spirits, will find certain bodies who are ready to receive them and work through them so that their life work can continue. I saw that in Wagan 5. And I listened to what he was telling me. I listened to what Sekhmet told me, and I began to settle with that thought. And I realized that I had been seeing things that I had no idea what they were. But we restored that ancient tomb because there was another force present to see to it that that site would be rebuilt. And let me just say this and I'll move on because there's more that will be said later on. That tomb will probably never be open to the public. And as I sat with that reality, I thought about it for a minute and said, that's a magnificent thing. Why? Because all of these sacred places in the Nile Valley weren't meant for tourists to come in and desecrate and throw trash around. These were sacred spaces for souls to gather when they were summoned, so they can energize those who summoned them so that they could do their work better than they ever could before. So that tomb of Karakh, I hope never opens, because it has been rebuilt for those ancestors to come and gather and be ready for us when we open our hearts to receive them, so that they can empower us to do the work that all of us came here to do. That's your charge, to be ready to receive those ancestors who are on the other side. And this segment often said, the worst thing in the world you could do is call on the ancestors and give them nothing to do. You think you're in trouble now. They live for you. They live through you. That has always been the African way. And Finch, even though he was a Catholic, right? And the first time I heard him speak at St. Augustine's Church, he talked about the fact that understanding Kemet and African spirituality helped him become a better Catholic. It took me a while to get up the courage to ask him what he meant by that. But when we talked about it, he said that he was raised Catholic and he knows those traditions. His family was raised Catholic, so he's not going to step away from that, but he understands the African spirit that is inside Catholicism, that is inside Christianity, that is inside all of these religious traditions that contain a fragment of the soul, of the spirit of our ancestors. So all you need to do is to go into those spaces ready to receive the original source, the original spirit that is there. And if you open up your heart and let those ancestors come on down, they will move through you so that you can move the world. And that's what time it is. We all see that the world is falling apart. Every single minute of every single day, things are disintegrating right before our very eyes. Systems are falling apart that we were taught to believe in. And they're revealing themselves for what they have always been. Don't buy into that, because there's something that is much stronger, something that has always fortified us, something that has always been in here waiting for us to stop and recognize it. So now's the time to recognize. And that's our charge. Stop waiting for somebody else to save you, and understand that you've got everything you need to save yourself, to save your family, to save your community. And when we come together with that consciousness, nobody, no force on this planet can stop us. That's what time it is. And so I'm asking, I'm begging, I'm pleading with all of you to stop playing around. Take your life seriously. Wagan Fire's on the other side. He's an ancestor. He's ready and available to come to your assistance. Understand what ADACI does when they establish these altars. Understand that tradition that is available to us by creating a portal, an ancestral portal in your house. Put up an altar in the western part of your house. Place on the altar the pictures of Big Mama, the pictures of your family members and loved ones. And sit and meditate or pray in front of that altar and open up your heart and your soul to those ancestors and invite them to protect you. Invite them to inspire you, and they will come. They're just waiting for you to invite them in your space. That's always been our superpower. That's always been our greatest strength. That's why our adversaries have always done everything within their power to diminish their significance. So now it's time for us to be real, to embrace ourselves. As Baba Ayize said, it's time for us to be African or not to be. We have no alternative. And we have everything we need to do everything that must be done. We don't have to form any more organizations. We got everything we need. Work together, come together for our collective benefit. Come together for the benefit of our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and those who have not been born. Because if we do our job and do it right and do it well, then when we come back as our children's children's children, we will inherit the world that we built for ourselves. That's how this process works. It is that simple. So as we gather this evening to lift up Wagan Fai, to honor his memory, his spirit, let us remember all of the ancestors who preceded him. Let us remember all of the ancestors who will come after him, because this is not going to be the last time we get together to commemorate a life well loved and a life well lived. And at some point, somebody's going to pour a libation for us. And when they do, let them say that there walked a sister, there walked a brother who was the best example of what it meant to be a righteous person. That is our legacy. It's always been our legacy. So let us move forward knowing that we have the greatest force of ancestral power walking along with us. And let us do the impossible like we have always done since the beginning of time. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Sandy, come on up here and let's wrap up this program and send these beautiful people home. We want to thank everyone for participating in this program. And we've got some names we want to acknowledge.
Well, just want to say that as when we said that we were not going to have an MC, and somebody said, oh no, we are going to be organized by spirit. That is really what happened here today. So thank you all for showing up and bringing that. Wagan Fai would be pleased because everything was done collectively with such ease. It was such a beautiful experience, all of us working together, and thank you for coming and bringing your energy and your love to that. And just as all the speakers said, every single person, we didn't plan that, every single person said the same thing. We have to heal ourselves. We have to invest in our own spirituality. And it's an active process. We got to do the work. So thank you, all of you, for coming here, adding your energy. We have to thank ADACI again for all of the work that you do. I mean, it is no joke. It is hard work, carrying all of this, assembling it with never asking for anything in terms of payment, the love, and the idea of constructing a space, as Baba said, that we're here when we watch them put it together. And at a certain moment, when they finish, you step away and you can feel that spirit has come. So thank you for creating these spaces for us. And thank you to all of the members of ADACI and to everyone who helped put their hands on this altar to lend their ashe for that light. We have to thank, we've talked about culture and the way that culture inspires us and is carrying all of our secrets, our embedded history and memory. So we have to thank Kaba Akintunde for your uplifting and centering. As you spoke about the center, you took us all there. Thank you so much. and the goddesses of healing sound, the goddesses of healing sound, the perfecters of bringing spirit into the space, the goddesses, Free Benjamin, and Ayanna Gregory. Also, you're talking about servants of the community that always show up and show up investing in so much excellence that there's no repetition in their game. They are customizing it for every opportunity we have to lift up spirit. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you. To all of the speakers, to Baba Yusuf Al Nur, we give our blessings to Raia, and we just are hoping that all is well. We also have to thank Amadou Kouyate for starting us with that beautiful meditation that he gave us, and also to Jarwara Hunter, to Makini, who is not just an organizer of this event, but also brought a powerful message about culture, to Ngozi, who flew from LA to be here, to Ife Robinson, to Adeleke Foster, who also came on a plane to be here. We'd like to also thank Iya Marie for her consistency, for Nana Kwabena to have the history of doing the initiations for Kumbhalamba and now being here to continue to invest in us as a spiritual community. We just thank you for your consistency. We just thank you for your presence. We thank you for your leadership. There may be someone that I left off, but I just really have to big up to my brother in spirit and in life, and to thank him for his continued leadership. What Karakh may not have mentioned is that it was not just that Wagan said and Sekhmet said that this is who you are, but when he got into the center of the temple and saw the relief on the wall of Karakh, it was him. So we thank you, Karakh, number 2.
I also want to take this moment to thank Ellen Finch and all of the Finch children, the entire Finch family. We love you. We appreciate you. We thank you so much for sharing your husband, your father, your brother with us. He has truly been a blessing. And I want to give a special shout out to Baba Finch's son, Kemet P. Finch, who is responsible for taking the photograph that we've been using throughout this entire evening, the photograph that graces the cover of the program, which was designed by Free Benjamin and printed by Paul Coates and Black Classic Press. This is a community effort, and we thank you all. Cody, if I can ask you to advance the slide projector to the next slide. I want to ask all of you to consider ways, advance it. No, the pointer is not working, so you have to do it manually, brother. I want you all to consider making a donation to the foundation that was established by Charles and Ellen Finch, the Kosan Foundation. This is what his children want to focus their attention on. They want to use funds raised by this foundation to advance the work of their dad. They have thoughts and aspirations of organizing another Nile Valley conference. And I suggested to Mama Ellen that maybe they should consider doing the Charles S. Finch III lecture series, right? So in order to do any of this work, it requires funds, it requires support. So if you are so inclined to want to continue the work of Baba Finch Wagan 5, then please take note of the website where you can make a contribution and your funds will be well spent. So with that, Sandy?
I just also want to thank the planning committee, which obviously Karakh called us together. Mama Yuri, Nana Makini, and also Nana Ama. We just want to thank you so much for all that you did, all the research you did, all the spirit that you brought to all of this. Thank you. And thank you for bringing the water. Thank you for all the things that you thought of to just make this a special day. And we know how close you were and are to Wagam. So thank you for all you shared in terms of your memories as well. So thank you, everyone. We're going to go out and continue to heal. We're going to continue to be real deal and heal. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Unity in the community.
All right, be safe. Cody, put some music on, please. Put some music on, please.
And thank you to Cody Valentine for being our technical director for the night. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sandy. Sure.
Oh, yes.